So we just finished our presidential traverse. Will and I, we met our friends Evan and Katie along the way.
Saviors.
Yeah, exactly.
We went back and forth on that.
You guys started when?
Got up Saturday at 4:30, 4:15. I think we hit the trail maybe 5:30.
I started feeling so fresh at that time.
Yeah. That climb up Madison was definitely just wakes you up right away.
What time did you guys start?
We started late. We probably started at 8 o'clock. We got up at 4:30. Well, we set our alarm for 4:30. We got out of the house at 5:30. 2-hour drive up here, or hour and a half, and then we finally hit the trailhead at like maybe 8. And we cruised up to Madison Hut.
One important thing that happened in between cruising up to Madison Hut though was me realizing once we were up about 1,500 feet into our really long day that we couldn't possibly add 1,500 down and 1,500 back into it, that I left my keys at Dylan's car.
It's like, because the last time we did a loop, so we just went around and ended up at the same spot. So I was like, oh, I'll leave my keys in the car here.
This is the first hike we've done that had a different end point. And
Yeah.
it took us a while to figure out the logistics
Yeah.
of that.
We were planning on, we had a couple of different contingency plans, like depending on how we were feeling. Our first bailout / campsite was going to be off Sphinx, which is right after Jefferson, right between Jefferson and Clay. And that Sphinx is like a really steep 1,400 foot drop down to the Great Gulf Trail. And so we were like, okay, yeah, that might be a good place to stop, you know, just with the vertical and everything. But then when we got to Madison Hut, we were like, oh, we're cruising. So we dropped packs at Madison Hut, cruised up to the top of Madison, which is 0.5 and maybe another 500, 600, 700 feet up. And then came back down and we were like, wow, it's cold and socked in and you can't see anything. And then from there, you know, we ate some food and then we cruised up to Adams. And the climb up Adams was absolutely, it was very challenging. And we had to stop halfway up. It was just cold, so we had to throw our puppies on and just chill for a bit. Because, I mean, it's a scramble the whole way up, and it's like 1,000-foot climb.
Yeah, and what was happening to me, it was just like motor skills were getting really bad because it was so cold. So like we're scrambling, I can't climb anything. Dylan pointed out, like, you're probably mildly hypothermic. And from there we just took the right steps and got better.
We were having a discussion before doing this about why it is that everyone recommends going north or south. It was like, surely people do it south to north. I think that climb, going down the climb up Adams is
You
probably
want to do it the other way. And me, I'm like the rule follower, the like, this is
You know why I want to do it? You know why I want to do it south to north? Because you can catch the shuttle at a later time.
That's true. I'm not a big good
Good point.
1:35 is really early, or 1:25.
I think I realized why that is. I think it's the last shuttle, because there's like 2 shuttles that like go in loops and then they reverse direction. So I think it might be the last one that actually fully finished, and then when it reversed, it was done.
But I don't think I'd want to do it the other way because I feel like you have the hardest stuff last. And that's...
Yeah, I get it. I get it now.
It's like, and it gives you a good introduction to, okay, this is a no-joke hike. Once we got up to the top of Adams, we were super motivated because the clouds broke a little bit. So we were able to see over to Jefferson and see over to Washington. It was like, wow, we are way up here. It's like just under 5,800 feet. I think it's 5,799.
Yeah, and just the path you're looking at is unlike anything I've ever hiked before. It's like this beautiful ridge line that just goes and goes, doesn't stop. It's like several mountains that you can see in a row, and then also you can see Washington, and then something peeking behind it that you're like, I'm doing all of that.
Seeing Washington to me, especially after we've done it, and then hiking at one point today, I was like, there's no way we were all the way back on that.
Yeah, it's pleasant seeing it after the fact. It's a little daunting, the whole approach.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like also motivating, I guess. So we got up to the top of Adams at like maybe 12:15, and our pace flagged a little bit, but we were like, okay, yeah, we'll get up to Adams in an hour from Madison Hut. It took us a little bit longer. And then we were like, okay, we should be able to get to Washington by 2:30 or 3 o'clock. No, it was 5:30 by the time we got there because the walking along that it's just a rock pile, and it's
Yeah.
like you're gonna break an ankle if you're not paying attention. And up there, you're so far away from everything. Like any kind of help that
It just had consequence.
until you get past really clay, I feel like you're really in a self-supporting area. And then Jefferson was kind of bare too, but it was after getting Adams, it was like, okay, cool, we're cruising. The day was warming up a little bit. We found our comfortable pace and temperature.
Jefferson, we were in the groove at that point. It was not a groove that lasted very long. It was just the sheer amount of vertical kind of beats you down.
We struggled on Jefferson.
I struggled on Jefferson.
That felt hard.
Yeah.
I guess we just found the way through our morning energy and found ourselves on Jefferson just struggling to get up it.
Yeah, so when we were in Madison, we were like, okay, we cruised up that. Let's shoot for Nauman tent site, which is 15 miles into the hike. And it just wasn't going to happen. So we ended up strolling in after we got to Washington at 5:30. And then I was feeling really fine until Washington when we were sitting in there, where I think we saw you guys first, and we kind of overheard you talking to one of the guys up there. And we were like, we're not making it to Nauman. We got to go to Lake of the Clouds and hope that they'll allow a worker stay or just let us sleep on the floor or whatever. That 1.5 mile walk down across the Crawford path was just so brutal.
It wasn't supposed to be, right? The Crawford Path's supposed to be the well-maintained, like easy to go through path.
I could see that if you were fresh. Like I could see being like, oh, this is a great trail.
And that's the part of the presidentials that I'm familiar with, just from skiing and going up tucks and stuff. Like, I kind of know that area. And, like, didn't think it was going to be challenging, but I had to sit down and just, like, chill, like, a half mile from the hut.
Yeah.
And we were out of gas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we met you guys. We had dinner out there and outside the hut. Yeah, how was y'all's stretch from Washington to Zealand? Or I keep saying Zealand, Lake of the Clouds.
Well, also because we didn't know. I mean, I guess you guys didn't either. Is there going to be anywhere for us to stay?
Right.
And I've never hiked in the dark before. And Evan has a lot more hiking experience. Like he could go out. I mean, in Washington.
Yeah, but I haven't done anything that technical in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Especially like, it's the middle of summer. I brought a jacket because I know it gets chilly up there, but we weren't really planning on being out.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
we
might
had our
drop to
sleeping
20
bag, but we had our
degrees.
sleeping bags in the dip.
Yeah.
But not for hiking.
But that's
yeah.
not hiking. That's
Right.
laying there and weathering it out.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, that was not super fun. And I was just like watching this, like waiting for it to get dark, you know?
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna make it? Yeah, and then wondering if there's gonna be a spot for us.
I genuinely think they weren't gonna. If you come in that hard up, it's late at night, the weather isn't good, it's not suitable for night hiking. Like, when you guys were considering it, I was looking at that as someone who's done like a ton of night hiking. And I was like, no, I would never do this. No way.
It was so socked in. Visibility was maybe 200-300 feet maximum. Not even, maybe like 100 feet.
Yeah, and so I could see one cairn ahead, which becomes a problem super quickly when it's also dark. And you now can't see a cairn ahead because it's dark and your flashlight's just illuminating the fog. So that's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, above tree line at night with fog, it's just too dangerous for me to attempt it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we ended up not having to, and you didn't even have to work for it.
Didn't even have to work for it. Just had to ask.
When we were going up over clay, we saw these two kids left there. Their mother had left them there, like a mile from Washington, and had gone back to get her husband, who was still back on like Jefferson or something. And so we stopped and we stayed there and talked to one of the kids who was freezing his ass off. And I was like, man, like, you doing okay? Do you have snacks? Do you have a hat, gloves and everything, pants? And he said, yeah. Later this morning when we were kind of packing up, I actually met his mom and I said, hey, how was your hike? Yeah. It's good to see you guys here. I know it's not my place, but if the Forest Service or anybody, saw your kids there, you'd probably be facing charges. She was pretty receptive to that. And she was like, yeah, I had to go get my husband. And I said, yeah, I think the right thing to do would have been to go the extra mile to Washington and leave your kids in a safe place. Because I had to tell the kid, hey, anything bad happens, go right to the railroad and follow it up to the observatory. Which would have been the right move for them.
It's not itself without dangers. Like,
Exactly.
It's still a pretty
I
technical
wonder
hike to
why
do
they-
alone as a
Why they
kid.
split up in the first place, though? Especially
Right.
with kids.
Right.
Like, because I often say, like, I've been going so go ahead, and he's always just told, like, hiking together all week. You don't want to split up.
There's
Yeah.
an appropriate amount of like, if you're hiking at different paces, you can wait for each
Yeah.
other. But it's also like when I'm doing that,
Kids.
no, never with kids, right?
I mean, up there, I know the weather forecast was pretty clear, but it can change in 5 minutes there. And if those kids were left out for more than 20 minutes in that storm, they would have gotten lost and they would have died of hypothermia.
Do people don't know? Like, do they not do their, like, we knew, like, we saw a weather system good this weekend. Let's try to do the traverse knowing we might have to turn back or whatever, depending on weather. Do people just not, like, look into that?
They don't understand it because they've never experienced weather like that. That it's more than hurricane force winds up there sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get blown off the mountain or struck by lightning or just die from exposure.
The hypothermia thing is probably your biggest risk, to be frank.
It was 40 degrees up there. I'm
With
sure
wind
that
chill
kid was.
probably down to 20, you know?
Mhm.
Like when it really picked up.
Yeah.
And if you're wet on top of that, yeah, you don't last 15 minutes before you pass mild hypothermia and into a place where you need like actual medical attention.
Today was good though. Really
Really
crushed it. And, I mean, it was beautiful, clear weather today. Nice and warm, and a nice gentle breeze. And yeah, what did we hit? Monroe, and then Eisenhower, Monroe, Franklin.
We had so much
Eisenhower,
trouble
Pierce,
trying to list them.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the sun? Like, did you have really pretty views of the sun coming up?
we took about an hour after you guys left.
We left at 6:30.
Okay.
Which is incredibly early. That's like 3 hours ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
We're not
You were good about it because you knew we needed to get going today. But I'm usually one that's like, start early.
Apparently, we need to take off at 2:30 this morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was so good.
the terrain's just no joke.
It was my favorite part of the weekend was this morning.
Monroe was
The sky was
That whole area, I mean, the Lake of the Clouds was just insanely pretty. Like, we were not in the mood for it, but coming upon it that night, we did stop and take a picture.
Yeah.
It's got to be in the top 3, or if not the most trafficked hut
Really?
in Hampshire, I would say. Maybe.
yeah.
Just like the splendor of it.
They keep it fairly pristine, you know? You think for that kind of thing would be soap bottles or
Yeah, right.
whatever trash around the lake.
I did pick up a couple of pieces of trash around there.
Yeah, but it's also like we got in there after the crew had already switched to making dinners. They probably would get it, but it's true. It's like, you know, you invite people who are used to full on LNT
Right.
to the thing. It's because they can, you know, they don't have to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
with the prizes.
We were,
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I think it's kind of rough because it makes it more accessible, which I love. But if people are going out and they're not prepared, they're just like, oh, we're going hut to hut.
Right.
You know, and they don't bring the, like emergency equipment in case they get set up between 2 huts.
Yep.
Kids gonna die.
Yep, exactly. We were able to catch a really beautiful sunset last night, though. From the hut, that was cool. And it was fun being able to face west and see a lot of the log trail section that we had done. We saw Camel's Hump and Mount Mansfield and stuff. And yeah, I'm usually on that side looking east and trying to see Mount Washington. It's cool to see him silhouetted.
I love looking back at a mountain that I've hiked before.
Yeah.
Seeing it from a distance. I mean, that was today, looking back at Washington. Like, it was just like, whoa. Because you could see the observatory, so it's really easy to, like,
Identify it.
Yeah.
Really see them. And it's also
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's such a good way to orient yourself, right?
Mhm.
Because now that we've done it, I'm pretty familiar with the order of them. So you see Washington, you can say, okay, on the other side that's Clay, on
wait,
this
can you
side.
list them, all of them?
In order?
From start to finish, what did we do?
Well, I'm a little confused actually about this because everything I read said it's 7 peaks, and I count 10. What's that about?
some of them might not count as official peaks because
Yeah.
there's not enough prominence. Right? Like so I think Franklin definitely doesn't count. Clay might not count.
Yeah.
Franklin was tiny, that was just
Yeah.
a little.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But so it might be prominence issues. It might also be that people don't officially include Jackson at the end of it all the time.
All right. In order, we had Madison, Adams, Jefferson, Clay, Washington, Monroe, Franklin, Eisenhower, me, Pierce, Jackson. Yeah?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, I mean, we hit 10 summits today.
Yeah.
This weekend.
I did good until the last one.
Yeah, what were the biggest challenges for this trip, and like what could have been done better? What could have, planning, gear, anything like that?
Yeah, we knew.
Two
Well,
cars.
I think 2 cars, just having one on each end would have been good. I mean, we haven't been hiking in a while, like,
For redundancy soon.
and I think maybe just doing more multiple peak days. Like, we are very much just like, oh, go do this peak one, on the weekend. That's easy to do one peak. Like, you feel a little tired after. Doing the multiple is kind of tough. And I think it's just the pressure of time. Like, to me, that was hard. Like, oh, try to get there by the shuttle. Try to get to a site so that there's an available tent site. Like, the pressure was annoying.
I'm not used to having deadlines when I'm
Yeah.
backpacking.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
like
kind of
hiking.
odd having to work around that because I honestly have no idea how quickly I hike a mile.
Well, that's why I like hiking, because you don't have to, it's not like when you're at
Right.
home and you're at work and everything's on time.
You have to
Like,
hurry
you
up.
just do it. So this trip was very, because first it was hoping to get is it Newman or Nowman?
Nowman.
Nowman, okay. Hoping to get to Nowman, hoping to still have light when you're hiking, and
Hoping
then
to
the
get some snacks
shuttle.
on Washington.
The snacks, yeah, that was disappointing. I was so looking forward to snacks.
I was so crushed. I wanted my Washington stomach glizzy with a bunch of mustard in it. I got up there, I was like, yep, 5. I tried to jump ahead a little bit just to see if maybe they were open until 5:30. And they were closing up shop.
I was just hoping, I don't know, in my mind I thought maybe they'd have ice cream. But we did bring, I think, the appropriate amount of food. We did good this time. We
This
didn't
is
have
one of our-
excess.
Yeah, it's one of our first times we've ever done a backpacking trip and not packed a bunch of food out. We always overdo it.
And my favorite, fanny pack, and I always keep like combos for pretzels and chocolate, some sort of little treat, so that when you're like trying to get out of a spot and you're just like, I can't do this anymore, you just pull it out of your fanny pack and then you're good. You don't really need that. You don't need that motivation, but I do.
I do.
Yeah, the Summit candy bars are definitely.
Yeah,
Well, I don't need
or
it 'cause
Trader
you're here.
Joe's. They make these fruit chews that are really
Oh, yeah.
good. Peanut butter cups.
Peanut butter cups.
Like those are
Cool.
a must-have.
Dark chocolate.
So we did good with the food this time.
We did.
Not good with the time.
Yeah, I definitely think I think I've struggled with pretty consistently since I started hiking is that I don't eat enough calories while hiking. So I bonk and then have a bonk and recover and bonk and recover. It's just I just I have appetite problems early in the morning. I was like yakking day 2. Both of us had morning sickness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad this morning.
I was throwing up like crazy going up Madison just because we ate Dunkin' Donuts going up. I had avocado toast, breakfast, bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant,
Save that.
the hash browns, and then I also had a bagel,
Oh.
bacon, egg, and cheese that I ate on Madison.
And then hiking up that.
And the coffee screwed me. Like I was just throwing, like I had such bad acid reflux was just coming up, so I was just throwing up, and I could I've never had this before, but like I could literally feel the grease of the food like on my lips. So I'd have to yeah, it was gross. So I
That's pretty awful.
probably threw up 5 times going up Madison.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just replacing it with water, just diluting it, and then Will had some
I had to wake up at
I saw you get
I
run out of
was
the
like, see it
place.
going? Yeah, I just went. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
did you see
No, I
it?
saw you go out there. I
Yeah, I said hi to nobody. Was head down. I see it. And I made it as far as I could possibly make it. And then on the climb out, I had another incident, and then immediately rallied, got to the top of one row, very quick.
You got a lot out, and you were like,
I'm good.
What did you?
I try and move around after eating a little bit, digest. It was just sitting in my stomach when I woke up. And didn't drink enough water, probably too.
You got it. I'm usually really bad about this. I'm better about it now. But he'll always say you need to eat as you're going and drink as you're going.
do you guys ever put electrolytes in your water? Like Propel, like Gatorade packets, or Liquid IV?
No.
I highly recommend either Propel packets or Gatorade packets. My favorite's Liquid IV because it's just a really good. It just gets you hydrated so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
So I put one of those in one of my water bottles with the sport cap.
Especially when you're getting crappy water, you can put a little bit of flavor in it.
Madison hot water, I just thought was
It
delicious.
was so good.
All the time, I was like, oh, I just want to drink all
I
this.
think all of those, they have to be like drilling down into a spring. Hydration, not a problem for me. Food was a problem for me. Gear was pretty well dialed. It was unnecessary to bring a tarp, we figured out, but it kind of was when we started.
I mean, we planned it. We did not plan to stay in it hot. That was a fallback kind of, and you know, in a big hike like this, somewhere else where there might not be huts and shelters, like I would consider that our biggest failure point was our poor route planning. I think we did not anticipate the route as well as we should have. Just our pace was so slow going over those rock fields. Yeah.
I mean, so the answer now, we know the answer now to doing a Prezi like in that kind of push. It's got to be go up, stay at like Falling Waters or something, and just have half the climb done. Wake up at 6 a.m., crush all the way to Nauman. Because then you have 2,000 less vert that you don't have to do that morning with that climb.
That's still a tall
It's
order
a huge
for a day.
but it's
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
smaller than the day that we did.
Yeah.
Even if you're going all the way to Nauman, it's still a smaller day.
Because I mean,
The
I think
elevation, you know.
all four, like we did like almost 8,500 vert in one day.
Yeah,
And
it-
Yeah.
12 miles.
8.4 thousand and
Yeah.
12.5 miles. So 8.4 thousand, that's more vert than I've ever done in a single day, I would say.
I think.
Yeah, probably.
But, and I mean, that's why I think up until Jackson, right, that was the last one said, everything else felt good. I mean, tiring, but good because it was so much less elevation gain than yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and you said that in the morning, you were on the phone telling me, like, it's only this couple hundred
A couple
feet.
hundred feet on each
It's only
one.
500. But I mean, I was still exhausted. It was tiring.
But it wasn't that sustained 2,500 climb and then go down and then do another 2,500. I think all my layers were good. I brought a puppy this time. That was crucial.
I brought some wool glove liners, and coming off the top of Washington, we each had one for our trekking pole hand.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
tucked away.
I did have a fleece knit cap, a beanie, and then yeah. So we had for like warming layers and like weather layers, we had our base layers, and then a fleece, and then we had our puppy, and then we had wind pants as well, or rain gear.
Yeah.
Right
here.
And yeah, that worked out pretty well.
At no point did I feel like we were on margins of not being able to get warm enough basically.
Yeah, same. We did good actually
True.
with our
But
clothing.
that was kind of a last minute thing. Like it's been hot where we live
Yeah.
for months.
But
I just didn't really.
Yeah, but we knew if you're going to Mount Washington, like
You
you
know
have
how
to bring.
It was in the 20s at night.
Yeah.
Brooklyn chill.
I mean, we thought we'd be camping.
But you
Yeah,
never know.
I needed all those clothes for hiking quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, we did good with clothes and food, I think.
Cool.
How was your stuff though?
I did pack down pants to just in case we were sleeping outside, and my sleeping bag wasn't enough. I really wanted those, and then obviously Crocs and some nice thick wool socks. And
Yeah.
happy with that. Yeah.
Although I bought my so you have like your Crocs, the shoes that you wear around, right, wherever you're camping. I didn't even use mine because by the time we got there, I was so tired. I just sat there with my boots on and I left them on until
Yeah.
I went to bed.
I don't bring camp shoes. I usually, if like my feet aren't totally wet or my shoes aren't wet, I can just loosen them up, put on a fresh pair of socks, like
Yeah.
an oversized pair of socks. And yeah, camp shoes now. I use sock liners. There's also ones that have individual toe spots that they're really nice for in between your toes. They're called gingers. It's great if you have problems with blisters between your toes or on the outside of your feet.
Yeah.
They're kind of the solution that I found for that.
Yeah, when I took my liner off, it was all bloody in the toes. I have very wide feet.
And it also might be that's a lot of hiking your feet are sweating.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Final thoughts?
It was good. I feel like those hikes, I come out and I'm like, when are we hiking again? I don't quite feel like that yet. Like I need a little recovery.
Yeah.
Like glad we did it. I'm still feeling a little tired and a little sore feet. The morning was beautiful, like waking up. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the second half of it I thought was prettier, if only because then you're looking back at all the really tall stuff you just did.
Yeah.
You know, like the first couple of days it was cool to be up, or the first day, it felt cool to be up on Washington. But that's what you want to be seeing. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It was cool to be past that and just looking past that, or looking back
And I
at
think
that.
it's just mental, like knowing it's gonna be a trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys?
If I had to rate it 1 out of 10 to include difficulty, I would probably give it almost full marks. I don't even know what I would rate it, but probably some of the hardest I've ever done. But awesome factor, I'd give it a solid 9.5 out of 10.
That's the most incredible ridgeline hiking that I've ever done. And I don't know how you beat the views that you get on that and the sheer amount of like walking on a ridge with amazing mountains that are so much taller than everything around.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Today I felt like that was confused. The first day, I don't get a lot of fog.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just more tiring.
Sure.
Yeah.
Savage track is really being
Yeah.
cold and then being in the fog cools you out quickly and then takes away all your calories.
I like the fact that like, it makes it feel very austere and ethereal up there when it's in the fog. Like you can't see anything around you, but you know it's just a very weird environment, very foreign. Last question I have is, what was your favorite hut that you visited along the way? Because I think we all hit all 3 of the huts.
Yeah.
Just at least to stop in.
I like Madison because the water was so fresh. And we had I had 2 pieces of the coffee cake.
I don't know in terms of just rating them in terms of how good they are or anything, but Madison definitely was great because we had just finished that hike. They had a hot coffee and coffee cake
Yeah.
and good water. Like that was that one the R.
Lake of the Clouds, sleeping there to me felt like that's my. It just was so nice to have a
And the
warm.
views from that place.
The views were incredible.
That was salvation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was your guys' favorite?
I really like the mitzvah hut. I thought that was the
Mitzvah's
most
really
unique and really cool in there. We spent a little bit of time. We were able to get some free leftover breakfast, which was cool. Yeah, I like the A-frame style of it. It was neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Lake of the Clouds that was the coolest.
Yeah,
The
you
coolest structure was Mitzvah, and the one that I was happiest to see was probably Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because it was just like, yeah, we need it.
Yeah.
We got there.
Yeah.
Heck yeah,
It
guys.
was good. We did
Yeah.
it.
Prezi.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, awesome. It was really good to meet you guys.
Yeah, you
really
likewise.
happy you guys stopped through here and
Yeah.
got some snacks.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice to like see other people when you're hiking and get to know them. I don't know, it makes it
Definitely.
go a little bit.
Really just kind of lends to the culture of it too. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for the ride. Like,
Yeah. Oh my god.
we
We had to
got
come back anyways.
yeah, we were so excited that we were able to like get down there in time for the shuttle, and we were so excited, like, oh, we're gonna help them out, we're gonna give them a ride back to their car, and then we get to my car, and it's like, oh, electronics don't work.
You're
You
in
can't
your
go
electric car.
And
Like-
meanwhile, you know, like I'm on the hike, like I don't want them waiting for us at the
Oh,
trailhead.
yeah,
Like we have to
exactly.
hurry.
That just lends itself to the theory that no matter how much you plan, something will go wrong, and you have to be adaptable.
Yeah.
And this time it was like 4 something.
Yeah.
And
There
we're
were so
still
many
And look,
there.
we're all here.
I mean,
Full stomach.
Parts
Yeah.
of me might be up on the mountain still. But
I'm so grateful for this experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was such a
It would be a lot.
awesome.
Yep.
And guys, good recommendation. Right there.
Yeah.
That was
this,
good.
I will come back
Yeah,
here
this
every
is
time
good.
I'm in this zone of the lights. This
Yeah.
is the best food I've found.
All right.
Okay. Woo. Let's go, bro. Woo.